Nobody else in this whole land.
Nobody.
Say nobody can do it like McDonald's can.
Nobody.
Everybody always knew it. Nobody can do it.
The hamburger, famously associated with American cuisine and loved by many across the world, had a humble beginning. In 1900, a man walked into Louis Lunch, at the time a small lunch wagon in New Haven, Connecticut, and asked for something he could eat on the go. Louis Lassen, the founder of the restaurant, quickly cooked up some ground steak and put it in between two slices of toast, creating the now iconic sandwich. Let's see how this hamburger was made and the history behind it. What is put on your hamburger?
Your options are cheese, tomato, and onion, or any variation thereof.
How are you making your hamburger differently than all the modern hamburger restaurants?
We're still making it the way we made it from the very beginning. We're staying true to ourselves and our forefathers for what they invented, and not trying to compete with anybody, just do our thing and have our little piece of the pie, so to speak, and our slice ahead.
What was made here changed the American diet and business forever. This new sandwich spread quickly across the U.S. It made appearances in several state fairs across the country, which quickly catapulted the burger into commercial success. However, it was not viewed in a positive light by many. It was typically sold by street-side carts in small restaurants, whose hamburgers had questionable quality. Thus, it was seen as a wage earner food, only eaten by those barely getting by that did not care about the contents. To make matters worse, Upton Sinclair's bestseller, The Jungle, went into great detail about the unsafe practices in the meatpacking industry, shocking the public and even reaching President Theodore Roosevelt's desk. The scathing depictions of the industry in the book further shined a negative light on the hamburger. It would take a lot to sway the public's opinion. In 1921, the first ever fast food hamburger restaurant was opened in Wichita, Kansas by founders Billy Ingram and Walter Anderson, called White Castle. White Castle's philosophy was making small, square hamburgers that could be eaten easily, which was the earliest idea of on-the-go food. It also prided itself on high-quality meat, a clean establishment and workers, and consistency, all of which were not common in hamburger sales at the time. They also pioneered the use of the modern-day hamburger bun instead of the usual bread or toast. The popularity of hamburgers and fast food restaurants continued into the 30s and 40s, where restaurants were consistently found across the country and hamburgers were more widely accepted as a dish rather than a poor man's food. During this time, production became much more efficient, thanks in part due to new innovations like freezers and assembly lines. Freezers allowed restaurants to stockpile meats, but in turn damaged the meat's quality due to freezer burn. It also allowed for easier shipment of meats, which let fast food restaurants transport meat much easier and made fast food restaurants able to operate on a much larger nationwide scale. In 1955, the now worldwide staple McDonald's opened and was a huge success. They optimized the burger-making process, further speeding up the fast food industry. They made 600 million hamburgers a year, which is $90 million in hamburgers alone a year. That's a whopping $942 million adjusted for inflation. McDonald's was so successful, in fact, that they opened a hamburger university where students learn restaurant management and what it takes to make the perfect hamburger. Keep in mind, there were many other fast food hamburger restaurants that were also prospering and making millions per year, putting hundreds of millions of dollars into the economy. The biggest reason restaurants like McDonald's became so big was due to franchising. Franchising is allowing someone else to sell your products or services under your brand in exchange for a fee and royalties. Hamburger restaurants made great use of this process because it allowed them to expand their brands nationwide quickly while providing local entrepreneurs the chance to have success off the backs of established brands. There were lots of hamburger restaurants greatly expanding due to franchising at the time, such as Burger Chef, Burger King, In-N-Out, Sonic, and Jack in the Box. Another reason the income of fast food hamburger restaurants exploded during this time was due to the innovation of the modern drive-thru, in which the customer tells the attendant what they want through a speaker. This was very effective because it gave the restaurant a small head start that could be used to put out orders faster. It became popular among consumers because of how fast and easy it was, not even having to leave the comfort of their car. In-N-Out was the restaurant to invent this, and it became standard in the industry from that point forward. Let's see how Mr. Lassen fares with the modern restaurants. How have you been able to maintain making hamburgers the same way all this time?
It's been a chore, but we battled through it like a lot of people in the restaurant business, and we just, again, stay true to ourselves and what our forefathers created and do it the same way and try and keep it simple, which is a big thing, and that's helped us a great deal, and we have a large, loyal customer base.
Finally, how do you believe the hamburger changed America?
Definitely created a lot of fast food restaurants and made life somewhat easier for customers and people on the go and families, and for that matter, people could feed their whole family at one time for a much cheaper price. And I think that had a lot to do with the invention of the burger, and pretty much the way she goes.
In modern times, the hamburger continues to be a bastion of American cuisine across the world. Hamburger restaurants make $166.1 billion a year. It is a symbol of American ideals and consumer culture. The hamburger is so recognizable and so accessible that it can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. The reason its cultural impact is so large is because of the idea of the wage earner food. It can be enjoyed by anyone, regardless of class, and shows that even the poorest people can enjoy a high-quality meal, which relates to the American ideals of opportunity and equality. The fast food industry exploded because of the sandwich, with approximately 84.8 million people eating at fast food restaurants every day. I hope you all see now why the hamburger is a turning point in American history. Many only see it as a simple sandwich, ignoring the fact it has contributed so much to our economy and our culture. There's a reason that so many of us think of hamburgers when we think of America in general. Thank you. What happens if someone were to ask for ketchup on their hamburger?
Oh boy, that's a problem. Now, we try to refrain from giving out ketchup to anybody, and we don't use it because, again, we're staying true to what our forefathers created, and we stand by our product, and it's cut and ground fresh every day, and we want you to taste it and enjoy it as opposed to covering it up. Ketchup was actually invented many years ago because the meat was actually so bad back in the old days that they needed something to cover the taste of the meat up, and because it was so sugary, that became very addictive, and that's why they use it now still to this day.